Thanks, Sophie. Hello and welcome to Midlands Today with me, Mary Rhodes. The headlines tonight. Immediate improvements in maternity care needed at Gloucestershire Royal Hospital following an inspection which found the service was inadequate.
She is waiting from 12 to near to 10 for painkiller.
The trust which runs the hospital said it is providing regular improvement updates. Also on the programme, homes evacuated in Ulster because of a major gas leak. Engineers search properties on a busy road.
Despite the road closed signs, the traffic's coming down and having to turn around and go back the other way, so it's a bit chaotic to say the least.
Aping Robbie Williams, we get reaction to the new film portraying the Stoke singer as a monkey.
And our weather watchers making the most of the mist and fog. More of that to come, plus a cold night ahead. Details on the way.
Good evening. The Gloucestershire Royal Hospital has been told to make immediate improvements to the standards of maternity care. A snap visit by the Care Quality Commission last spring found failings in safety and in leadership. Managers say they're continuing to take action to improve the service. Matthew Hill has this report.
You can saw here, it's the injection after sex.
Carol's wife gave birth in Gloucester in July last year. She was due to have a planned C-section, but the couple say she was left for hours without any pain relief.
10th of July, it's second day that she is the surgery. She is waiting from 12 to near to 10 for painkiller.
His wife is a doctor and trained in Afghanistan. Because of concerns about the family's safety in the UK, we're not using their real names. She said her experience of giving birth in her home country was better.
After 9 p.m. I don't remember because my pain is very hard and I don't remember.
So did you...
She is near to the shock, for that reason she don't remember.
So you're shocked?
The couple said their experience was traumatic, and they're not alone, with the Care Quality Commission branding the maternity services inadequate for a second year running. It's not the first time we've heard about serious problems in this unit. In 2021, Rana Abdul Karim died after bleeding having given birth.
I never heard there is a pregnant woman lost her life because she's bleeding and she's in the hospital. How they lost her?
The report into her death found there'd been delays calling for specialist help, and there were also issues with language barriers and the doctors making themselves understood. But after an unannounced inspection last May, this latest CQC report says uncontrolled bleeds, like Rana suffered, continued to rise. It also identified delays in escalating, deteriorating patients and says there were 4 occasions when consultants had not attended complex clinical situations. The report also found some staff felt they'd not been supported after raising concerns, and agency nurses weren't always able to access patient records, limiting their ability to provide the best care. The Trust has refused to give us an interview. Instead, in a statement, they say they've made significant improvements since May, for instance, reducing uncontrolled bleeding to below or in line with the national average. They also appointed 25 more staff and now have patient satisfaction rates of 85%. Matthew Hill, BBC Midlands Today.
Several families were moved out of their homes overnight because of a major gas leak. Engineers searched properties on a busy road in Ulster in Warwickshire to try to find the source of the leak. Our reporter Giles Atcham is there for us this evening. So, Giles, what's the picture there now?
Well, as you can see, it's still pretty busy here, Mary. They're now checking gas levels to ensure that they are subsiding. But the good news is the repairs have been completed. The area's been declared safe, and in the past hour or so, we're told residents have been allowed back into their homes. A great relief, I'm sure, after scenes last night. One of them described to me as organised chaos.
Tea time yesterday, the emergency services rushed to a row of houses on one of the main routes in and out of Ulster.
We were out for a meal last night and we returned about 7 o'clock, 7:15, with the road all closed off, blue flashing lights, emergency vehicles here. Bit of a mystery to start with, but we believe since there's a major gas leak.
Crews from the gas company Cadent have been here ever since. About 20 homes and businesses were evacuated. Residents moved to a hotel for the night. According to engineers, this began when a cast iron gas main fractured. These houses, most of which are more than 200 years old, have cellars, and the concern is that the gas is accumulating beneath the ground.
For safety reasons, we did evacuate some of the residents from Evesham Street. We've now made a repair on the gas main, so we had a broken gas main outside in the carriageway. We'll remain on site until everyone is settled. We're now allowing residents back into the property.
The roads remain closed all day while repairs have been carried out, meaning for some a long and frustrating detour to reach the town centre.
There was all the noise last night from the sirens and the flashing lights. These things happen, I know, but I can't see why we can't just walk down one side of the road today.
Cadent workers had to break in to one building last night as they urgently tried to establish the source of the leak. Businesses are expected to open tomorrow as usual.
Yeah, as one business owner put it to me a little earlier on, the last thing they wanted was more days of closure after the shutdown for Christmas and New Year. Cadent, well, they say most probably it was the recent cold weather that caused this mains pipe to fracture. This road, Evesham Street, one of the main approaches to the town centre, should be fully reopened by the end of the week, if not before, Mary.
Giles Latcham, thank you. To other news, an elderly man is in a critical condition in hospital after he was attacked at a bus stop in Birmingham. The 82-year-old was waiting on the Soho Road in Handsworth near the junction with Bolton Road when he was assaulted yesterday afternoon. His attacker fled the scene. Police are now reviewing CCTV and urging anyone with information to contact them. Former surgeon from Birmingham, Dr Mohammed Sadiq, has been jailed for 5.5 years after admitting offences related to multiple circumcision operations. The 58-year-old pleaded guilty to 25 offences last year, which included ignoring basic hygiene rules and performing non-therapeutic procedures. An order was also put in place, preventing him from carrying out circumcisions for 5 years following his release from custody. Several schools were forced to close today in Leamington Spa, and homes and businesses were left without water. It happened early this morning, affecting large parts of the Warwickshire town. Severn Trent Water says supply has since been reconnected. A family whose dog was mauled to death in Malvern is appealing for owners to be more responsible. Jan Marriott suffered serious injuries when her dog Leica was attacked outside St Matthias churchyard. Police are investigating. The other dog was put down.
If you can't be responsible enough to look after that dog, or you have not got the capacity to care for that dog in the proper way, to raise it properly, give it to somebody. Give it to a home, give it to a dog shelter, okay? Give the dog up. You feel you can't look after that dog, then give it to somebody who can. Give it a better life.
MPs have warned that a lost generation of children could leave school without the special educational needs and disabilities help they deserve. The Public Accounts Committee says too many families are unable to access support for their children. Vanessa Clark has been talking to one mum in Birmingham about the problems she is facing.
He hates the hairdresser.
For Rachel Morgan, the battle to get help for her 7-year-old son Max, who has autism, has been long and exhausting. Max is finally in a school with the right support, but it's not close.
The school he's at is 35 miles away, so that's a 45-minute journey there and a 45-minute journey back every day, which is a lot for a 7-year-old little boy, especially a 7-year-old little boy with the difficulties that Max has.
The family are now looking to move house just so they can be nearer the school. They are not alone. There are an estimated 1.7 million school-aged children with special educational needs and disabilities in England, and MPs say too many of these families are struggling to get help. The help children with special educational needs receive depends on their postcode. The report warns that waiting times for assessments and support varies massively between council areas and between schools. It's calling for urgent action. Within the next 6 months, the committee wants the government to set out what support children with SEND should expect, develop a new fully costed plan for improving the system, and work with the local authorities to develop a solution to the financial problems they face.
We're in desperate danger of failing an entire generation of children if we don't get this right. And it's not only the system to try and actually support them, it's also costing the nation a huge amount of money.
So we're looking at the noun transformation.
At Nine Styles, an academy in Birmingham, 20% of the students have special educational needs and demand is increasing. Some students' needs are only now being picked up in secondary school.
You know, at primary school they might well be working in smaller groups, they know their class teachers much more closely, and then when they come to secondary school and there's that big transition, it can often be difficult to really identify that support very quickly. And I think that's something that going forward, earlier identification of the right levels of support and need would really help secondary schools and then learners to be more successful.
Families are navigating a complicated system, but the government says it is already making progress, investing £1 billion, as well as creating more specialist places in mainstream schools.
That was Vanessa Clark reporting. It's good to have you with us here on Midlands Today. Shafali will be along shortly to let us know how much longer this milder weather will be with us. Also still to come, from goal scorer to golf pro, the former West Brom and Stoke striker Peter Odemwingie setting his sights on qualifying for the British Open. And Stoke's famous son Robbie Williams depicted as a monkey in a new film. What do people from his hometown make of it? The gourmet chef Aaron Dalton suffered severe depression when a close family member took his own life. It simply became too much, added to the pressure of running a busy restaurant kitchen. Well, now he's trying to help others facing similar issues. Kevin Reid joined him today at a 24-hour cookout.
Life was once sweet for Aaron Dalton, a successful chef who ran his own businesses. But the tragic loss of his father through suicide 4 years ago triggered a decline in his mental health.
I went downhill after that. I was sectioned, I was in hospital for 4 months, and when I got out I couldn't actually cook for myself, not even beans on toast. I've been a chef for 20 years.
He's since recovered and now wants to give back to the community in Solihull where he grew up.
Men my age that are going through stuff, they don't want to cook, they just want to go in, grab a ready meal, stick it in the microwave, and that's what I want to make, nutritional, ready-to-go meals that benefit.
Anyone wanting to talk was invited to the Hatchbrook Family Hub in Solihull, where they could also have a go at cooking. His cousin Molly from Chelmsford Wood came along as she's had her own problems.
I got diagnosed at 14 with major depressive disorder. And it's been a roller coaster where there was points where my mother wouldn't allow me in my kitchen on my own, where the same thing was cooking. I used to have to be watched for I was very suicidal, and it was a scary time. But again, the cooking and baking helped a lot.
Who's first? Come on.
The turnout was low and many missed out on beef ragu, vegetable soup, chorizo and turkey stew, and a host of other healthy foods. But those there were more than happy.
It's very nice, and it's nice to have something in the community, a local resource that people can access.
It's lovely food, nice to come to. I'll be going up for seconds very shortly, that's my opinion of it. Says everything I need to say. Absolutely fantastic.
And it's not over yet, because Aaron is going to be working through the night, baking for tomorrow morning, where he's going to be serving a very healthy continental breakfast. Kevin Reid, BBC Midlands Today, Solihull.
Good for him. What a great idea. Now, the Prince of Wales paid tribute to the nation's paramedics this afternoon as he became patron of their professional body. Addressing the College of Paramedics' inaugural Emergency and Critical Care Conference in Birmingham, Prince William described the workforce as the Swiss Army knife of frontline healthcare. He praised them for showing care and skill in highly stressful and often distressing circumstances.
My time in these roles allowed me to better understand the day-to-day challenges that you all face and gave me the lifelong motivation to do all I can to support your community. It is not just another job. Every day provides unpredictable challenges. Every shout is a journey into the unknown, and every split-second decision has immeasurable impact on so many people.
More than 500 miles of canals crisscross the West Midlands. Maintenance is costly. While many canal towpaths are well used and in good repair, some aren't. But a network of volunteers are now adopting canal towpaths so we can continue to use them. Chris Steers reports from Aldridge.
They were once the motorway of their day. The canals of the Midlands transported everything from coal to cotton and pottery. Today they're used more for leisure. The canals of the Black Country can sometimes seem like a sleepy backwater, but volunteers like this group in Aldridge are making sure that towpaths once trod on by horses are fit for boaters, walkers and runners.
We needed a project. The canal was an obvious one as it runs through Aldridge. All of us, without fail, just devote our time. We're all retired, which is fortunate, I suppose, at the moment, but we've got time on our hands and we might just as well use it for the benefit of the community.
Britain's abandoned waterways are in the running for a big facelift.
Even back in the 1960s, local groups were helping to restore and keep the waterway network open. Not far from Aldridge, the Walsall Canal is still closed due to a chemical spillage in August of last year.
This is just one of the challenges the team are having to deal with here, a fallen tree left over from Storm Dara. This actually blocked much of the towpath and it's becoming an ever-increasing issue on the canals. In fact, in the recent storms, Canal and River Trust say over 150 trees fell across the network.
Most of the challenges tend to be to do with the state of the paths, so that we can get a lot of mud and problems like that, so we need to stabilise the ground. Cutting back trees if we have storm damage. The resource that the canal provides for local communities in terms of exercise and just getting out in the fresh air, if we don't look after them now, we'll lose them. So I think if you can volunteer and help out with a group, it doesn't take much time really. It's in our case, it's generally one morning a week.
The group meet every Wednesday in Aldridge and always welcome new people to get involved to help look after their local canal. Chris Steers, BBC Midlands Today, Aldridge.
The Tamworth striker Chris Ray says the club hasn't done enough to support him after he was racially abused online following Sunday's FA Cup defeat to Tottenham. The forward refused to play against Boldmere last night, saying incidents like this highlight the ongoing issue of racism. He added that although manager Andy Peakes had supported him, he was disappointed the club hadn't condemned the abuse publicly. The club says it will always support its players against any sign of racism or discrimination. Peter Odemwingie scored goals wherever he played. He was a hit with fans at West Bromwich Albion, Stoke City and Nigeria, winning silver at the 2008 Olympics. Well, these days he's more likely to be found on a golf course and is aiming to qualify for the British Open. Ian Williams has been to meet him.
As a professional sportsman, Peter Odemwingie has always been the kind of guy with a lot of drive. In a 17-year football career, he won 56 caps for his country, as well as an Olympic silver medal, appearing at 2 World Cups and 4 Africa Cup of Nations.
He played in 6 different countries, including 7 years here in the United Kingdom, in the English Premier League, finding the target with West Brom, Stoke and Cardiff.
But now he's swapped to a very different type of club.
Well, Peter, what was it you loved about playing football the most?
I loved scoring goals,
yeah,
especially in the last minutes of the game. And with golf, it's like holding a putt on the 18th hole to win a tournament.
So similarities between golf and football, you would say?
A lot of feel involved. So sometimes the weight of the pass in football is as important as how hard you hit a putt.
Now, it's not uncommon for famous sports people to have a real love of golf.
But Peter has taken it further, studying for 4 years to graduate with a foundation degree in professional golf studies with the Professional Golfers Association, better known as the PGA.
Then from here...
As a PGA pro, Peter can now coach.
So now you're aiming at the targets.
Which was handy for me.
There you go. For right!
Thankfully, he has grander plans. As a former Olympian, he likes the idea of leading Nigerian golfers at the Games.
It's not bad, you know.
The medal is very well respected back home. If I cannot play as a golfer, I can at least be in a team of a golfer who will play there. But for now, I want to introduce people to the game and build a generation of golfers from Nigeria in particular that will participate in the Olympics.
What kind of benefits do you think that golf could bring to an African country like Nigeria?
If we have more golf courses, there will be tourism. Kids can get scholarships in good countries, good schools in America.
Odemwingie admits that accessibility is a barrier for many in Africa, but says he wants to involve charities, businesses, state officials and the PGA in his plans.
Oh, good to see Peter again. That was Ian Williams reporting. Now, in the new film of the life of Robbie Williams, the singer is depicted as a monkey. The idea is to show how Robbie has always felt rather different from the crowd. Although many of the critics love it, what do they make of it? Of Better Man in Robbie's hometown of Stoke-on-Trent. Laura May McMullen has been finding out.
I'm Robbie Williams. This is my story, but I'm not going to tell it in an ordinary way, because I don't see myself how others see me.
A story inspired by the highs and lows of Robbie Williams' life and how he sees himself. The global pop star from Stoke-on-Trent is unconventionally portrayed by a computer-generated monkey.
When the monkey idea came up, I was just like, oh my God, that blew my mind.
You got in? You're in that band? Take that! And it made a powerful impression today to local people watching his film Better Man.
Just everything about it was pure gold, Robbie, so well done.
The streets and the scenery and everything, it was just Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah, it didn't seem odd at all. It just came across as natural. It's obviously how he sees himself, isn't it? Like a cheeky monkey.
And for 13-year-old Alex from Newcastle-under-Lyme, having a small part as an extra was a big deal for him.
I think with it being the first ever film I've been in, it's quite a milestone for me, for this to be my first actual big film.
Here at Staffordshire University, they've been teaching motion capture technology for over 10 years.
We have an actor come in and they put the infrared markers or the ping pong balls all over the suit, and the motion capture studio will send infrared lights to hit them and bounce back into the cameras, which will make the studio understand that there is a person underneath those markers. I think the facial capture is done amazingly. It's quite difficult to capture realistic likeness. It takes a lot of skill and expensive technology to capture facial capture like that.
I think it's very clever and it's very well done. Like, it's creative, it's unique, and I think it's a really nice way of showcasing this side of the industry.
And with all the facial capture and stuff, what we can do now, you still get the emotion as if it was you were looking at a real person talking.
I think facial capture is going to get better, and it's going to be used more in films, and I hope they do more fun ideas with like changing the story a little bit just by adding a little bit of spice. I reckon it's quite fun.
The View Cinema in Newcastle-under-Lyme says it's seen sellout screenings and the highest admissions for the film across all of its UK venues. Fans today had nothing but praise for Robbie's alternative, digitally animated portrayal.
I wouldn't change a hair on your head.
Laura May McMullen, BBC Midlands Today.
Well, it's certainly different. Now, to the weather. What a contrast in temperatures to this time last week with some welcome sun for many. Shefali has joined us with the forecast. So is it going to be staying mild for the next few days?
It is, but not as mild as today. Today our temperatures were up to 10 or 11 Celsius. Yesterday they were up to 12, so two of the mildest days of the week. But frost is going to be an issue tonight, and mist and fog has also been quite a feature, as you can see from our beautiful picture here from Leighton in Shropshire without the extra H, if you've spotted it. So please don't call in and tell us there's an extra H there. But yeah, high pressure has been in charge. It's created some clear, cold and calm conditions, and that's also responsible for some interference with our TV and radio services across the country. So if you've been experiencing some problems, that's probably why. But it's also giving us more settled conditions for the remainder of the week. So we've got more fog on the cards. It is going to be settled, and as I say, it is going to be mild compared to last week, although by the weekend our temperatures are dropping and we've got some more frosty nights ahead. But here we have it. We're still in this mild air mass. High pressure is going to start to veer off to the southeast, and that's going to allow for a slight change in wind direction, as I say, which is what's going to take our temperatures down over the weekend. But tonight, so we've still got that clump of cloud across the southeastern corner and fog. It's going to edge a little further northwestwards, but where we've got the clearer skies out towards parts of Shropshire and also Herefordshire, Worcestershire into Staffordshire as well. Here we see our temperatures down to about -1, -2 Celsius, giving us a touch of frost into the morning tomorrow. But some of this fog could be quite dense in places. So that's what we're greeted by tomorrow morning. It is going to be a colder, foggier start to the day, but if you're in the sunshine, very pleasant indeed, although our temperatures will be a couple of degrees down on today's values, so up to about 6 or 7, possibly 8 Celsius at a push. And then moving on to tomorrow night, again, it's going to be quite a cold one, but not particularly frosty. Our temperatures, you can see, are lower than the values we had today or yesterday, but not too bad for the time of year, a couple of degrees below average or around average.
Great. Thanks very much, Shefali. Now, you may have seen earlier that the Prince of Wales was in Birmingham today for an event with paramedics. A keen Aston Villa fan, he also found time for a pint with fellow Villa supporters before they headed off to tonight's game at Everton. William asked the club to arrange the gathering at Wetherspoons at New Street Station. Looks like they're having a good time. That's all from us here on Midlands Today. Amy Cole will be along with your late update at 10:30. Have a good evening.